It's Wednesday, the 10th of June. My name's Juan Brown. You're watching the Blancolirio channel. And on Monday, the 8th of June, a C-130H owned by the 386 Expeditionary Wing and operated by the Wyoming Air National Guard apparently overshot the runway at Camp Taji, which is located just 17 miles north of Baghdad, Iraq. They apparently overshot the runway, landed long, overshot the end of the runway by what appears to be nearly 1,000 feet, hitting a K-rail, going up and over a K-rail and smacking the wall located just off to the side of the highway that borders the base. The aircraft was operated by 7 members of the Wyoming Air National Guard and was carrying 26 passengers. 4 people were hurt. 3 have already been treated and released. I'm unclear at this time as to what the condition of the 4th injured person on this flight. 2 of the injured folks were the pilots who were up there on the blunt end of the C-130 when they smacked the wall. Though the Air Force is investigating the possibility of hostile fire, it looks like this is just another case of overshooting the runway, underscoring the importance of landing on speed and on target. The C-130 is an aircraft that's very near and dear to my heart, as I spent 3 to 4 years flying the C-130H out of the Nevada Air National Guard, located here in Reno, Nevada. Those were H models. Quick PSA for my friends in the Air Force, you guys that are operating the C-130H right now, a quick public service announcement from your AFMPC, Manning and Personnel Center. Do as I say, not as I do. Stay in. Don't get out of the Guard or Reserves right now. You see the state of affairs of the airlines right now. I know life over in Taji and Kuwait is not that great operating the C-130 and other Air Force assets around the world, but as pilot crew members especially, the job market out here stinks right now. So stay in, get your 20, don't do as I do and get out too early and leave all that money on the table, especially the TRICARE health care system. That's what you're striving for. Stay in for that 20. Okay, back to the story. The aircraft was being operated in support of Operation Inherent Resolve, the fight against ISIS in Iraq and Syria. Now let's go inside and look at what we know so far. Beautiful Camp Taji is located just 17 miles north of Baghdad along the sunny beaches of the Tigris River. Subject to the occasional rocket or mortar attack, Camp Taji is shared with the Iraqi forces on the Camp Bennett side of the base and is home to thousands of civilian defense contractors, coalition forces, and Iraqi forces. It's also a tactical airlift hub flying in support of Operation Inherent Resolve. Locally, this airlift is affectionately known as the Pain Train, for which the C-130 is specifically designed to fly troops and cargo into short, unimproved airfields under hostile environments. As a tactical airlift pilot, this usually means flying with flak vests, helmets, sidearms, night vision goggles, and possibly a chem suit. As measured on Google Earth, the airstrip at Taji is 1.09 miles long, or about 5,700 feet, which is enough for a C-130, but not a luxurious amount of room. Located 1,000 feet off of the departure end of runway 16 is the wall running parallel to the highway that it appears this C-130 impacted. Emergency responders on the base were able to quickly respond and put out the small fire that was ignited. A quick review of the C-130H systems reminds us that there's 3 independent 3,000 psi hydraulic systems on board the C-130: the utility system, the booster system, and the auxiliary system. The landing gear operation and normal brakes are powered by the utility system, which is powered by the hydraulic pumps located on engines number 1 and 2. The booster system applies additional hydraulic pressure to the flight controls and is powered by engines number 3 and 4. The emergency brakes are powered by the auxiliary hydraulic system powered by a separate AC pump. All of these controls are located on the co-pilot's instrument panel in front of his yoke. Of course, along with the brakes, the C-130 has the 4 giant Hamilton standard propellers which you can throw in reverse and greatly helps the aircraft get stopped. Helping the crew operate these propellers is the flight engineer in between the two pilots. The flight engineer on landing has an eagle eye on the tiny little indicators regarding the RPM and the condition of the Hamilton standard propellers. And if there's a problem with the propeller, he can quickly identify that propeller for you and help you identify which prop is giving you problems, i.e. not going into reverse, which will greatly affect your directional control. And then you as the pilot can get that prop out of the equation or symmetrically operate the two propellers together to avoid loss of directional control on the ground from one of the propellers not correctly going into reverse pitch. So investigators will be looking at all these systems, making sure they were working correctly and all the checklists were run correctly. But more importantly, investigators are going to be looking at where did this aircraft touch down on this 5,700-foot runway? At what speed did they touch down? What sort of operations were they running there that night? Was it night vision goggles? Was it a blackout operation? Were they flying normal approaches and landings, or were they doing tactical approaches and landings? A tactical approach and landing in the C-130 allows you to come in at quite a steep angle, round out, flare, and smash it onto the runway right in a very small 300-foot zone, and then max braking, bring that thing to a stop. Investigators will also be looking closely at the crew, their proficiency, their training. This is one of the challenges as a guard or reserve pilot. Often these pilots are airline pilots for their day job, but they're required to remain proficient with all the different tactical skills that the C-130 is capable of. And that's a very demanding schedule, and that requires that you spend pretty much most of your time off studying and flying and keeping proficient in your C-130 or whatever aircraft you're flying for the guard. But the C-130 has a particularly long list of requirements in order to stay proficient in. I hope this gives you a better understanding of what happened to the C-130H operated by the Wyoming National Guard crew. We hope everybody recovers fine. We need those National Guard crew members, as the Wyoming National Guard is one of four units that operates MAF's aircraft for aerial firefighting here in the States when things get out of control. Or more correctly, when our contract aerial firefighters run out of resources. And thanks for your overwhelming support here on Patreon that makes this detailed level of reporting possible. See you here. Say bye-bye, Pete. You gonna learn to fly a C-130? I bet they'll still be flying when you're old enough to fly them.